Hey guys, today we're going to be reading week 3 of your social studies article called Celebrate Freedom Week. Go ahead and start by putting your first and last name right here and then number your pages. So this is going to be page 1. So remember, all of this from top to bottom is page 1. Go ahead and turn your article. This is going to be page 2. All of this is page 2. Go to the next page. This is page 3 from top to bottom. And then you're going to turn to the very back with a crossword puzzle. And this is going to be page 4. Go ahead and put your first and last name as well right here. You're going to go ahead and we're going to do page 1 on your article. So go ahead. And we're going to read this section called Celebrate Your Freedom. Make sure you follow along as I read out loud to you. Each year on September 17th, citizens in the United States can celebrate the freedoms we have in our country. This day is known as Constitution Day and Citizenship Day. It is a time to think about our country and its past. It is also a time to celebrate the rights or privileges Americans have. Long ago, the country of England ruled America. England made all of the rules for people in America to follow. Americans didn't get to help make decisions about these rules. The people wanted to have the chance to make their own laws. The next section is called Declaration of Independence, 1776. In 1776, a group of colonists decided to let England know they wanted the freedom to rule themselves in America. One of the men, a lawyer named Thomas Jefferson, wrote a special document for the people. In this paper, Jefferson wrote some very important information. The document was the Declaration of Independence. It stated that Americans believed people should be free and equal. It stated that Americans should have the right to make their own laws. The Declaration also stated that a good government should care for its people. Once the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776, the Americans had to fight for the rights in the document. For nearly 8 years, the American Revolutionary War was fought in our country against the English. There were many battles and many men lost their lives. The Americans finally won. England agreed to let them govern or rule themselves. The next section of the heading is called the Constitution, 1789. Next, Americans had to develop a plan for the new government. The details of their plan were written in another important document, the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution was written at a special meeting called the Constitutional Convention. 55 men attended the meeting. They were smart men from many different cities. They discussed the type of government the United States should have. They talked about how much power the government would have. They agreed the people would be able to make decisions about the government. In the end, 39 men signed the document. 2 of the men who signed were George Washington and James Madison. Each later became President of the United States. Benjamin Franklin, who was 81 years old, was also there. Because of his health and age, he had to be carried around in his chair. The U.S. government was designed to protect the freedoms of people. The Constitution stated that the government would pass laws only if the people approved of those laws. The approval would come in the form of voting. People who vote to let the government know what to do. People in our country give the governments of the city, country, state, and nation their approval by voting. The Constitution promises that Americans will have the right to vote. Many people from other countries have studied the Constitution. Some of those countries set up their own government to be like ours. The next section of the heading is called the Bill of Rights, 1791. After the Constitution was written, there was still work to be done. Some of the leaders felt people needed to have their rights or freedoms written down even more clearly. They added the Bill of Rights to the Constitution. The Bill of Rights was a list of 10 important freedoms Americans have. Some of the freedoms explained in the document include freedom of religion. Americans can choose if and how they worship. Freedom of speech. Americans have the right to speak many things, even if other people don't agree with what they say. Freedom of the press. Americans have the freedom to write and report about many things, even if their ideas are different from other people's ideas. Freedom to gather. Americans may get into groups to share their ideas. Right to bear arms. Americans may own weapons to protect themselves. The United States of America is a good place to live today because of all of these things, important documents, and the founding fathers, the men who helped them write. So now that we've finished reading page 1, you're going to get your paper and you're going to go ahead and you're going to answer question 1 because we just read page 1. You're going to answer question 2 and your answer will be found in page 1. You're going to answer question 3 that's also on page 1. And then you're going to go to the back and you're going to answer question 7 that's also in page 1. Go ahead and get started.